The courtroom smelled of polished wood, expensive cologne, and the arrogance of men who believed money bought everything. Alexander Hawthorne leaned back in his Italian suit, a predator in a sea of sheep. He smiled, convinced victory was his. After all, what could a simple housewife from Wyoming, Sarah Hawthorne, possibly do against him? But the universe has a way of humbling those who think too highly of themselves. Across the aisle, Sarah sat quietly. Her brown hair was tied in a practical bun, her hands folded, eyes steady. Beside her, Timothy O'Malley, a young public defender barely out of law school, shuffled papers nervously. "Mrs. Hawthorne," he whispered, "maybe we should have taken the settlement. Pendergast, he's ruthless." "I told you, Timothy," Sarah replied softly, her voice calm as a hurricane's eye. "Let them try." Alexander smirked at the thought of crushing her. His lawyers had crafted a perfect narrative. She was lazy, unfaithful, unworthy of assent. Public humiliation was imminent. The judge called the court to order. Alexander's opening statement was theatrical. He painted her as an opportunist, a woman with no family, no education, no assets, who owed him everything. The courtroom nodded, impressed by the venom. Alexander whispered to Pendergast, "She's finished." Then the courtroom doors burst open, not with the usual security, but with an army. 6 men in black tactical suits moved with synchronized precision, forming a corridor. Through it walked William Vanderquilt, silver-haired, cold-eyed, unyielding, and beside him Victoria Vanderquilt Sterling, a young woman whose sharp features mirrored Sarah's. Lawyers followed in lockstep, carrying stacks of files that seemed to weigh down the air itself. Alexander froze. Vanderquilt. The name carried weight that dwarfed Hawthorne Tech. He realized too late that he had underestimated Sarah entirely. "Hello, sweetheart," William said, voice soft but commanding. "Hi, Dad," Sarah replied, standing and embracing him. Alexander's face went pale. This woman, this housewife, was a Vanderquilt, an heiress, a queen, a force of nature he had never even seen coming. Victoria slammed a briefcase onto the defense table, her presence radiating authority. "You didn't just try to divorce her, Alexander. You tried to humiliate her. You fabricated evidence. You tried to leave a Vanderquilt penniless." The courtroom erupted. Alexander stammered. This is impossible. She's just Sarah Jones from Wyoming." William's gaze froze him like ice. She chose the name Jones, to see if anyone could love her for who she was, not her family wealth. You failed that test. In that moment, the power shifted. Sarah stepped forward. Her gray dress was gone. In its place, a tailored navy blazer, shoulders squared, eyes blazing. "Your Honor," she said, voice cutting through the murmur, "I request a brief recess to allow my legal team to enter." Alexander laughed. Legal team? From where? Pendergast looked ready to vomit. Boom! The courtroom doors slammed open again. Sarah's team of elite lawyers, backed by the Vanderquilt security detail, entered. The entire narrative Alexander had built over months crumbled in seconds. "Who do you think funded your seed round?" Sarah asked, turning to him. Alexander froze. "V Group Holdings," she said, calm, almost playful. "My family owns 51% of your company. I'm not just your wife, Alexander. I'm your boss." The color drained from his face. Pendergast looked ready to faint. Sarah's calm, methodical dismantling of his empire was unstoppable. She and her team froze all Hawthorne Tech assets. Eviction notices were served. Alexander Hawthorne, the man who once laughed at the thought of crushing his wife, was now completely powerless. By the time he fled to the Ritz, hoping to escape with Jessica, the truth had already caught him. Every account frozen, every credit card declined, every plan undone. The woman he had underestimated had control of everything. Alexander's attempts to spin a sob story in the media fell apart when Sarah revealed the truth. His secret embezzlement, gambling debts, fraudulent transfers, all documented and undeniable. The public saw him not as a victim, but as a parasite, someone who had stolen from the people who trusted him most. Months later, Alexander Hawthorne was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison and $42 million in restitution. Sarah, now Sarah Vanderquilt, took her seat as CEO, poised, regal, unshakable. She had not only reclaimed what was hers, but she had taught a lesson in justice, power, and precision. From the small town in Wyoming to the towering boardrooms of Manhattan, Sarah's story became a legend. The housewife who wasn't just a wife. She was a queen, a strategist, a force no billionaire could underestimate. And as she looked out over the city from her new office, sipping herbal tea with the calm assurance of someone who had won everything through patience, intellect, and courage, she whispered to herself, "Let the world try to test me. They will learn what I already knew. Justice is power, and power is mine."
Did this story touch your heart? Subscribe now and join our journey bringing real voices and untold stories to light. Comment your thoughts. Your voice matters.